And with our first story that we have right over here, well, let's be honest, folks. No one should really be surprised about this news. Considering that the movie was a massive box office hit, in fact, it was one of the highest grossing movies last year, so it shouldn't be any form of surprise that a sequel should be coming up. However, the more you do look at this sequel, the more that they would present the ideas that they would have, I'm not gonna lie, at least for me, I feel like I look at this and I can actually see potential? I know it sounds insane, but let me explain why as I talk to you about the Lion King remake sequel. Yes, the 2019 remake of The Lion King is officially gonna be getting a sequel, and they actually got some people that are gonna go and work on the project immediately. Now, one person is guaranteed that's gonna be coming back will be Jeff Nathanson, who has stated that apparently he has worked on the last movie, on the first film, and apparently he will be coming back to work at least on the initial script of it. Just need to clear my throat a little. However, what is very important to note here is that apparently Jon Favreau won't be coming back as a director, but instead it will be Barry Jenkins, in which you may recall him as the Oscar-winning filmmaker who has directed the Best Picture movie Moonlight, along with directing the recently praised If Beale Street Could Talk. So he's going to be the brand new director. Now, from there isn't any new information that has come out regarding the Lion King remake, in terms at least of other people that will be involved. We don't know who in the cast is going to be coming back. We don't know who's going to be like the new people that will be involved. However, we do have information regarding an idea of what they want to do with the plot, and this is where things get a little bit intriguing. So listen up, I'm going to go and read from my source here on Deadline, as it states, they are keeping the log line under wraps, but I'm told that the story will further explore the mythology of the characters, including Mufasa's origin story. Moving the story forward while looking back conjures memories of The Godfather Part 2, set on the African plain with a continuation of the tradition of music that was a key part of the 1994 animated classic, the 2019 film, and the blockbuster Broadway stage transfer. On top of that, we also got a quote here from Barry Jenkins himself, as he states, let's see, Helping my sister raise two young boys during the 90s, I grew up with these characters. Having the opportunity to work with Disney on expanding this magnificent tale of friendship, love, and legacy, while furthering my work chronicling the lives and souls of folks within the African diaspora, I think that's how you say it, I might have butchered that word, is a dream come true. So that's currently the situation that they have with this Lion King remake sequel. They got a new director with Barry Jenkins, and we got an idea of a little bit of a plot line where it's going to be both a sequel and a prequel at the same time. And we know that the prequel will be more the rise of Mufasa. Now, first things first, I might as well go and start things off by talking about the 2019 movie. And I just gotta say, right now, if I would have to go and find one movie that would be considered the most hated film in Disney history, not necessarily the worst, but the one that has received the most significant amount of backlash, the most amount of hate just on the movie itself, it has to be the Lion King remake. Maybe some will say the Mulan remake or maybe Song of the South, but at this point, I think it really is safe to say it's just the Lion King in terms of just being the movie, for being what it is. Not necessarily counting any form of controversies, just on the basis of the fact that it's a remake of The Lion King. And in my opinion, I'm not necessarily too thrilled about that film. I don't think of it as the worst movie out there, but I could definitely see why people really don't like this, and why many people would say especially that it's such a pointless film, especially considering the fact that it truly is a shot-for-shot remake. Now, granted, I do admire the technology that they do pull off, but it's not necessarily suited for a story like this. I mean, the technology is phenomenal, it's amazing, there's not much to complain there, but to use it for a narrative type story like The Lion King, it doesn't work as strongly as other movies that they could have used this technology into better use. And in terms of the narrative itself, in terms of the story that we had, in terms of the characters that are represented, for the most part, a lot of it really is just the same thing as the 1994 film. You look at it, and it's practically a shot-for-shot remake with really minor exceptions, except that, like, the differences are so insignificant that they really don't matter. It's like, oh, well, it's not all the same as the original Lion King, you know? There's a moment where, Simba talks to a Phil Lamar antelope. That's kind of different. The hyenas are kind of different. They don't fully sing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" or "Be Prepared." There's that too. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. It's just the fact that the differences are so minimal that it is fair to call this a full-on shot-to-shot remake. And yes, I do agree that it definitely is a pointless movie. And now the factor that we do have a sequel, again, like I said before, it's honestly not all that surprising because despite all the backlash, despite all the hate that it got, it is an extremely successful movie. Like, one thing I will say that a lot of people would go and say this, and it is an absolute lie, even though I would say that the hate for this is very strong, and it is probably the most hated Disney movie, it would be a lie to say that it doesn't have its fans, that the Disney live-action remakes have fans of their own. Now, there are some people, of course, that, like, maybe the hatred on this, it's more the amount of hate that people do have. Like, honestly, to make a kind of comparison, you know how I was with Sony Animation and movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania? There's a lot of people right now who currently feel that way about this Lion King remake, or about Disney live-action remakes in general, where the hatred is massively strong. So, like, maybe it's not really the quantity of people that hate it, it's more like the the vocalness, how, like, the hatred on it is extremely loud on this thing. And the thing is that the living proof is because of what happened at the box office. It currently stands as the highest grossing animated feature of all time with 1.6 billion. And you know that even though there are a lot of people that give it hate, that give it a lot of backlash, you know the grand majority of them are also the cause of the Lion King remake's success, right? Like, you'll hear them ranting, but then again, those are the same kind of people that would go into the theater and say, one or two tickets to The Lion King, please. And you never know, and like, with a movie that made $1.6 billion, you know that there are plenty of people as well that didn't just watch it that one time, right? So that's the thing. That's just a little piece of commentary that I do want to give in terms of the current stance of the Lion King remake. And so far the hate has gone pretty massive that even in the chat wall, I have noticed that there are even some people that did mention that some people do feel nowadays that the Lion King remake is overhated now, that people have taken their hatred for the Lion King remake a little too far nowadays. And so with all that said, so it's not necessarily that much of a surprise that now we do have a sequel to this Lion King remake. And with all that said, I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. When I read this article, when I read about the ideas, when I read about the people that are involved, I'm sure I might get some hate for this, that people are going to despise me for saying this, especially if they do have this massive hatred for the Lion King remake. But honestly, I see potential in this. I can actually see this really working out. Like, if done right, this could actually turn out to be a very solid movie. Like, a legitimate and worthy addition to the Lion King franchise. Now, I know that sounds insane, but hear me out. Now, of course, I am aware that there is still that strong chance that this movie might turn out to be a complete disaster. That this is going to be the type of film that everyone is going to hate. Like, everyone is going to hate. It's just going to make things worse for the Lion King remake. And the reason why I do say this would stem from my feelings towards sequels to Disney live-action remakes, because if you ask for my opinion, if I would have to go and list out what would be the absolute worst of the live-action remakes, it's gotta be the sequels. Like, if we can count Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, then I would put in Alice Through the Looking Glass, and especially last year's Maleficent Mistress of Evil. Those ones, I consider them to be the absolute worst. More than the Lion King remake, more than the Dumbo remake, and more than the Mulan remake. So, there is a chance with how bad those sequels have been so far, maybe this Lion King sequel could be into that as well. However, it does have some advantages as well, because so far they do have some materials can actually that could actually work out extremely well. It could work out in its favor. Now, hear me out on this. Number one, of course, is regarding Barry Jenkins. Now, you already got the diversity element already in place, and I mean, Disney is often pretty good at making a good, solid representation of itself as a very diverse and inclusive company. Like, the thing is that right here with this Lion King remake sequel, you got a black guy directing an African story, so already they got those points there. But it's also the fact that it is Barry Jenkins, and already he is establishing himself extremely well as a prominent and acclaimed filmmaker, already with movies such as Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk in his repertoire. We know that people can have absolute confidence in him that he can go and actually make something great, especially with Moonlight, in which it won Best Picture. So imagine how it is with the marketing, where you actually got an Oscar-winning director that helmed a Best Picture movie, now working for Disney on a Lion King remake sequel. You know, it can actually have potential, and Barry even stated himself that he is someone that did grow up with the original Lion King. He knows the story very well. He knows the characters. He has a personal connection when raising his brothers with his sister. So this could be a case where he would want to go and take this project seriously. There is a strong chance that he's going to take this project at heart and will actually develop a legitimate story instead of something that would just seem like a desperate cash-in like the original movie. There is that chance. And then there is also the idea of this synopsis, if they really are going with this Godfather Part 2 idea. Now, hear me out on this. Honestly, I have no idea with what they could do with the sequel. I don't know which direction that they could try out. Maybe there is a chance that they could go a little bit into the direct-to-video sequel, you know, like go with The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Now, I know a lot of people have already joked that this is going to be a shot-to-shot remake of Simba's Pride. I honestly don't think so. I think Disney is going to try to avoid that, really, but I wouldn't be surprised if there would be, like, small elements of Simba trying to raise Kiara. But what really does intrigue me a lot, and this isn't necessarily something that Disney has really dived into, that is the Mufasa element, making this a prequel as well, showing the rise of Mufasa and how he became king. Now, I know that there's going to be probably a lot of major Lion King fanboys that will probably point out some obscure book or maybe like a few episodes in like The Lion Guard telling us about like the origins of Mufasa and all that kind of stuff, but we never had a main storyline actually portray this prequel, showing us this actual rise of Mufasa. And I feel like the more you go into that, the more you can imagine how deep they can really go into this lore. Not only showing Mufasa and how he became this prominent and beloved leader of the Pride Lands, but also looking into the element of Scar as well. How he started out as just a brother to Mufasa, but then ended up getting exiled into the Shadowlands. Like, where did that betrayal come from? And that I feel like is going to be quite fascinating to look into. That I feel like there is a lot of potential where you can really build a lot of elements in order to present the characters that we once all knew and loved, and grow, like, and show them how they started out as kids and grow to become the characters we all recognize. I think, honestly, in the right hands, this could actually really work out beautifully. Now, again, I don't know if all this could actually work out well, but so far they are presenting some ideas that I feel like I could really get down with. Like, honestly, some ideas that I feel like if it can work, then I think it can actually really work out beautifully. Maybe on top of probably fixing up some of the errors, because I can say this right now. There is already one thing that this is promising us that we didn't get in the original, and that, well, when I say original, I mean the 2019 remake, and that is something different. At the very least, they are going to be delivering something that we haven't seen before, and already that is a massive plus. So from there, honestly, overall, I feel like there could actually be some potential. Now, I do recognize that there is still that chance that this is going to be a failure in terms of quality, and that this might turn out to be another really bad Disney live-action remake that nobody really asked for. But honestly, I can see where things can actually go very well, especially with the addition of Barry Jenkins and the possible plot line of doing it as a Godfather Part 2 style sequel, where we can also look back and see the rise of Scar and the rise of Mufasa, see the rise of Mufasa and the fall of Scar. So, who knows how this could turn out, and you never know if they're gonna really push this. I mean, like, I know that especially in these times, you never know when movies are gonna be fully released, but with the way that Disney would really put the pedal to the metal, especially with the Lion King remake, like, keep in mind, that production went by so quickly, where it was announced, I believe, back in 2016, and then it ended up being released in 2019. So you never know with the speed of this movie as well, that maybe we'll be seeing this sooner than we expect. Like, if things can actually stay intact and they can really keep production going. So maybe we'll see this sometime in, like, 2023 at the earliest, or maybe most likely 2024. But overall, I will say, I'm honestly, like, it sounds crazy, but I think I'm gonna keep an open mind to this. I think we could actually see something pretty solid coming out of this movie. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what are your opinions about this Lion King remake sequel? Are you guys intrigued to see how this could turn out? Are you guys still really turned off by it? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay. Let's see now. I basically have no interest in the Lion King remake, but I do see some potential in the sequel. I wish that they improved the facial expressions of the characters. They just need to look at Aslan from Narnia, or the animals from the Jungle Book remake on how to give emotion to the faces of the animals. As for those fans who want to point to something like The Lion Guard regarding Mufasa's backstory, I got two words for you: alternate timelines. Yeah, I'm gonna say, you know, honestly, on that comment, I'm gonna say two things right now. Number one, unfortunately, as much as I would like to see them improve the technology, I highly doubt that they would do that, mainly because of keeping consistency to the original. Because yes, I do agree that is one massive flaw where the expressions on their faces look absolutely blank. In fact, the cast of The Lion King is pretty much no different than the cast of the Mulan remake. And as much as I would like to see the animals be a little bit more expressive in their faces, I doubt that they would do that for the sake of keeping consistency with the look of the original. And also, with your comment on alternative timelines and if people are going to bring up stuff from The Lion Guard, I think honestly, yeah, they're not going to look into The Lion Guard as, like, at all. It's obvious in the Lion King remake, as much as that is a shot-for-shot remake of the original, it does show that they also really want to try out to do, like, they really want to do their own thing. And it's pretty much prominent, like, it's very much obvious that they are doing that with the hyenas, especially, where it's completely different than what we got with Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed. So from there, I feel like, yeah, like whatever plot line they would bring up with the Lion Guard, like, take that thing and throw it out the window, because that is not going to be applied in this sequel at all. Let's see now. Frankly, I found redoing The Lion King to be quite pointless, let alone having it be successful enough to warrant a follow-up. It was definitely the same thing as the original, almost no exceptions. Sure, it had some technological advances, but they should have been better suited for an original story. That said, I really can't wait to see this sequel having any sort of potential whatsoever. Okay, that's nice. Let's see. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the news of this come out, I thought to myself, oh Christ, a Lion King sequel? This is gonna be absolutely... Barry Jenkins, you say? I didn't exactly hate the remake as much as the rest of my chat wall colleagues, but it definitely feels like the exact same movie mixed in with a tech demo. But on the other hand, this is coming from Barry Jenkins, and he's proven to be an amazing filmmaker, so maybe this could be another hit for the guy. Hell, maybe it'll be another, and the comment just stopped there. You know, sometimes people need to learn that there is a limit to how much you can comment on Twitch, actually, because they won't let you write down everything you would say. Let's see now. Well, this was a surprise announcement. Well, if we're gonna get this, then at least hire talented people to give them enough freedom, like Rian Johnson with The Last Jedi and Ryan Coogler with Black Panther. He deserves a good payday. Now that Disney is poaching A24 directors, then does this mean we'll get Ari Aster of Hereditary and Night on Bald Mountain on Roger Eager's Lighthouse, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or Sadfi Brothers, Oliver and Company. Yeah, oh my god. Imagine if they would actually do that. But, you know, the funny thing is that, considering that you did bring up, like, maybe, like, Disney bringing in A24 directors, does that mean in the future we could get an animated film directed by Vivzie Pop? Like, imagine that. A Disney animated feature directed by Vivzie Pop. Like, she's already working with A24 to have Hazbin Hotel appear on television. You never know if Disney is just gonna come in like, yo, Vivzie, come here. Want to direct a Disney animated movie? I know it sounds insane, but not impossible. Alright, anyways, let's move on now. Let's see. With Jon Favreau's involvement on the follow-up either gone or limited, the latter could be made possible by Disney making him its executive producer. Can the use of the virtual reality style live-action filming technique be applied without Jon? If so, can the same technique also be applied with the upcoming live-action remake of Bambi, where a similar filming method could be used with or without Jon Favreau involved as a director or EP? P.S. I can hear a lawnmower in the background. Yeah, yeah, I know. So someone's doing a lawnmower thing. I mean, like, as much as I want to try to filter out, I'm just working with what I can. Don't worry, don't worry, the lawnmower is not that big of an issue. Honestly, like, looking into this, I don't know, if it says, yeah, it doesn't necessarily say here if Jon Favreau has any involvement in this. But then again, they did say that it is understandably a top priority for Sean Bailey's division after the last film grossed $1.6 billion worldwide. So, yeah, I wouldn't, like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it would actually be the case that Jon Favreau could come back as a executive producer so that he can make sure the technology can be done correctly in the same way as the first film. But who knows? We'll see with how that goes. Let's see, what else do we got here? I'll read another one. Frank, did I read this? Okay, yeah, all right. I don't think I've seen this one. Frankly, I found redoing Lion King to be quite pointless, let alone having it successful enough to warrant a follow-up. It was definitely the same thing as the original, almost no exception. Sure, it has some oh, no, wait, no, I have read this. Oh, sorry about that. All right, I'll read, okay, yeah, I'll read one more comment before we jump into the next story then. Why do we need this? The remake is about 99% shot per shot like the animated film. Is there really a point to making this? I do see potential though, and I could see improvements on it. Remember Lion King 2, Simba's Pride? They could potentially base a bit of the direct-to-video sequel onto it, just throwing some ideas. I mean, that is highly possible, but then again, we'll just have to wait and see with what they can do. I mean, like it says here, it is a top priority for Disney to do it, so who knows? We could probably get it sooner than expected.